Hey, Norman, you mentioned a little while ago the idea of using scenario analysis in
Yes.
risk management, helping make better decisions, ultimately that's all about. You also see a role for other decision support techniques like game theory and wargaming used in risk management. Do you think that's something that can also enhance decision making?
Well, I think they're all in the same family, right? They're all ways of thinking through what might happen, how other people would respond, and therefore what is the best process and what's the best decision to make. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that all of these, in some environments, modeling is excellent. Although you have to be careful with models,
Sure
you
do.
have to make sure that you apply some common sense and judgment to the results, recognize that people make mistakes in putting models together. But I think you should use all the techniques. I tell you, one of the things which we should not do is say, I know the answer because I've done this before.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the same world. And one of the problems with a lot of decision makings by executives is they use their gut feeling instead of going through the appropriate analysis. They tend to rush to a decision instead of getting the right information, involving the right parties, and taking that the necessary time to make the right decision. Now, obviously, sometimes you can't do that, in which case you need to recognize and build that environment that will support rapid decision making,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think of traders in the derivatives market. They surround themselves with information so that it enables them
Mm-hmm.
to make fast, agile decisions. But I think that's part of the problem. Another problem is apparently 80% of executives don't even know what information is available to help them make a decision.
Hmm.
So again, they come back to their gut feeling and their experience, which is not necessarily that the experience they had 3 years ago is not necessarily the world we live in today.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, for so many reasons, technology and society factors come into it. But I think it all comes down to what could help me make the right decision, and thinking about risk in the terms of, in plain English, thinking about, I like this word, anticipate. Can
Mm-hmm.
we anticipate what might happen? Is that okay? What are my options to address that? What will happen under each of these options using scenario analysis, game theory, all these different kind of things, bringing a whole bunch of people together to, if you like, war game it, think it through. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just think about your favorite TV show and or movie, and the president is asking all of his generals and cabinet members about, okay, should we attack now? Okay, what could happen? We might have some innocent casualties. What's the likelihood? How many?
Mm-hmm.
That's risk management. They're really
Absolutely.
thinking through all the things that might happen. What's the likelihood we'll capture him alive, which is the end game, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the likelihood
Or like
that
my CEO
nobody
says,
will
hey,
react?
Jay, I want to get into things like car sharing, ride sharing, autonomous driving. I want to turn around this particular area of the business. I want to do this. How can we do this with, considering the options and making sure that we're making the right decisions? We're not just making them from the gut. We've got some very sensible plans that have been developed based upon things like scenario analysis and these different other types of decision tools. So that's the innovative kind of CEO.
And what are our competitors doing?
Mm-hmm.
How fast do we have to move so that we're not too far behind the rest of the field? There's
Mm-hmm.
so many things to think about. And that's what it is. It's all
Well,
about.
that's where game theory comes in, right? What are your competitors going to do? What about how the regulators react? What happens? Your labor unions, what do they think about it? What about your employee bases? On and on and on and on. So you're kind of playing that out and looking at the various alternatives. That's a very effective technique around decision making.
Yes.
Well, Norman, I've taken up a lot of your time today. I really appreciate it. But before we go, I just wondered, is there anything else maybe that I didn't touch on that you feel strongly about you'd like to mention before we wrap it up?
I think that one of the difficult things is the regulators are constantly pushing to have the chief risk officer and his team independent of management. And that can be dangerous for an organization's success because it puts the risk officer and the people that are trying to make sure that people are making the right decisions almost in competition and policing the people who are trying to run the business. The successful organization makes sure everybody is on the same page and they're working together. Now, if somebody is taking some risk, not really thinking it through, then that needs to be escalated. But if the risk officer is seen to own all the negatives or the potential harms, and we're free to go and take whatever risk we want, I think you're going in the wrong direction. So I think that we satisfy the regulators, we need to make sure that everybody is working together to help the organization succeed.
I see the same thing happening with chief compliance officers in organizations where the government wants to hold them personally liable or personally accountable for the behavior of the company, which is impassibility, obviously.
Right.
So, again, thanks for all your time today. I really appreciate it. It's been a great discussion, and good luck to you in your endeavors. Thanks, Norman.
Thank you, Jay.